Hi, folks. This is Mr. Thomas, your friendly neighborhood editing instructor. And today I'm going to give you a walkthrough, part one of a walkthrough of project number one, editing basic dialogue. Basically, in this video walkthrough, I'm going to go through the steps that you would take to edit the scene called Hope, for which I provided you the media. Hopefully, you have downloaded the media. The media looks like this. It looks like this. Okay. It's in a folder. It could be in a folder called Hope Dialogue. You should have downloaded this separately from the link that I provided to you. You may have downloaded it from my Google Drive, or you may have downloaded it from my from the OneDrive file, from the OneDrive, from the OneDrive cloud space that we have available at the school here. It is about 18 clips, and you can see how it's labeled, okay, just like this, okay. Of course, the 1-2, that's like a shot name. 1A2, that's a different shot name. Okay, we'll talk more about that as we get into the tutorial. But you want to make sure that you have the media, okay? In order to edit anything, you're going to have two sets of elements. You're going to have your media. That's the raw footage that was shot. I'll give you a quick example of some raw footage that was shot. Let's just give you the shot of the waitress right here. I'm going to control click it, open it with QuickTime. Right now, I'm not actually in Premiere. I am in the Finder. So I'm outside of Premiere. If you're on a PC, you'd call that a desktop. And when I press play, you can see this one shot.
Action.
Evening. Need a menu?
Just coffee, please.
Cut.
Simple as that. It is a 20-second shot, and it is just the waitress coming in and saying, evening, need a menu, okay? It's called 1J1. That's the shot label. The 1 means that it's in the first scene of the film. The J means that it's in the J camera setup. Every different place we set the camera up in a location, it's called a camera setup. Many locations, you can get more than one angle on. So that means that you can set the camera in one position, and you can have the lens set so that it's a wide shot, or say a medium shot in that case of the waitress. And as a separate shot, you could keep the camera in that same position, but then zoom the lens on, say the waitress's eyes. So that would be a second angle in the same camera position, okay? But the camera position would still be J in that case. So J is a camera setup or camera position within that scene, and the number behind the dash is the take. Of course, if you do the scene the first time through, you get it right, that's take one, and that's all you need. But if you have to do it over again because if somebody messed up or the director wants another one to try some different things with the acting, every time the camera turns on from that exact same camera position, from that exact same angle, shooting that exact same angle, it'll be a different take. So the first time through, take one. The second time through, take two. The third time through, take three, etc. And the .mov at the end is something that was automatically placed on each clip when it was digitized. That means when it was taken from the videotape it was originally shot on, or videotape that it was originally transferred to, because it was shot on film and then transferred to a videotape and then digitized into the computer. That means what was on the cassette tape was turned into a bunch of ones and zeros, digital language, hence the word digitized, and put in the computer so that you can edit. But in any case, the format of the video is a QuickTime movie. And anytime you're working with QuickTime footage, you'll have a .mov tag at the end. Now, the QuickTime movie format is one of a few different formats you may see, actually one of quite a few formats you may see, but the QuickTime format is the one that you will see the most often, okay? But within that QuickTime format, we have different codecs, C-O-D-E-C, codecs. You can think of that as different flavors of the QuickTime format. If you think of QuickTime, the format, as ice cream in general, the codec, CODC, which stands for compression, decompression, is a specific flavor of ice cream within the QuickTime format. And there are many, 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 many different codecs within the QuickTime format. Other formats also have numerous codecs, but suffice it to say that the different codecs are good for different reasons. Some are high quality codecs that take up a lot of file space. Some are low quality codecs that don't take up a lot of file space but don't have a lot of image quality. Okay, so that's just a brief run through of how digital technology works with the editing, the type of editing work that we do. So these are the files that you should have downloaded. Make sure you get them all, and you want to put them all in a nice, organized, labeled folder. In my case, I called it Hope Dialogue. You might have downloaded it within a Hope Dialogue folder already. Notice that I have it inside of a folder. It's residing inside of a folder called my Media folder. I'm going to spin the triangle up so you can see the Hope Dialogue folder is inside the Media folder. And the idea is you want to practice good media management skills. That means not just downloading everything to the downloads folder and leaving it there, not just downloading everything to your desktop and leaving it there. Don't leave your folders or your media, that is the video clips that we just saw, unlabeled. You don't want to leave them unlabeled. One of the clearest signs of an amateur is a person who has a huge number of media clips and they're labeled unnamed 1, unnamed 2, unnamed 3, unnamed 4. Okay, you want to be able to quickly find the footage that you need based on the name of the clip. Okay, that's why each clip needs to have a very specific name. Usually in the film world, the name of the clip follows the shot label. Okay, and I don't know if you saw it, but the shot label comes off of the clapper or the slate, which they used on the set. Okay, let's see if I can find the right one here. Okay, now in this particular case, they used the wrong shot label. They called it 1H and it should be 1J. But don't worry about changing it. We'll just leave it as it is right now as a 1J, and you could ignore the slate. But in the real world, you want to make sure that your slate and the shot label, they agree with one another, okay? Because that will reduce confusion, especially for the editor, you guys. So the second part that you need to have, in addition to the media, and hopefully you downloaded this as well from either the the OneDrive cloud space or from my Google Drive, is the lesson file, okay? And the lesson file for this one, actually, this is a lesson file for the original project, but I did a little bit of work on this project ahead of time to kind of get you started if you want to use it. And that lesson file looks like this. Hope starting point for project number 1. Okay, if you were to double click this project file, not only would Premiere launch, but on top of that, it would kind of start you off from where I ended, kind of getting you set up. Okay, so let's do that first, because I think most of you probably want to do that, or you can start from scratch by setting up your own project file. By the way, I wanted to reiterate something that I may have said to you before, but this is a very important analogy that I like to make to help you understand the relationship between the project file and the media file. Consider yourself a baker or a person who is doing something with the recipe. Okay, you're making a cake, for example. Okay, there are 2 elements, and I just said one of them. It's the recipe and the ingredients that you need to bake the cake, to make the cake. Okay, so the ingredients, of course, that's really easy: the sugar, the flour, the vanilla extract, etc. You can't make a cake without your ingredients. And let's say you don't know how to make the cake from memory, so you need a recipe. Okay, the media is considered the hard ingredients that you need to make the cake, and the project file, this right here, is like a recipe. So it takes the 2 together in order to get your final cake or your finished edited episode, movie, or whatever you're doing. As far as these project files, There's one difference, there's one slight flaw, or you can say one slight difference in the analogy between a project file and a recipe, and that's that recipe is fully written out, fully completed for you before you start making the cake, and it's just a list of instructions that tell you which ingredients to use and how to combine them and when to combine them and how long to bake them and whatnot. However, with a project file, for the most part, you will be writing the recipe as you edit. So when you start, say you start off from scratch, you create a new project. So it's like almost like an empty recipe page in a recipe book. And as you make your editing decisions, what shot goes first, what shot goes second, what shot goes third, those decisions are being written to the project file. Kind of like you're experimenting, you're combining your ingredients in the kitchen, and then you're writing down what you're doing in on your recipe page. So project file is a recipe that you're making as you're making the cake. It's a recipe that you're making as you're editing together the clips to make your final project. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double click on the project file, and you're gonna see that you're probably gonna have this happen to you where you'll get a link media window. This link media window basically means that this project has been set up for you before. The media has been imported into Premiere, which you have to do before you do any editing. You have to import all the elements, all the footage that you're going to be working with. We call them source clips when we import them into Premiere's project panel. We'll see that in a second. But we have all the source clips listed here that were previously in the project panel, and that source, say for example, this 1-2 source clip, it was linked to the actual media, because this 1-2 source clip in the project panel, or in this window right here, we'll say, that's not the actual footage item in Premiere. What that is a reference to the actual footage that you shot on the camera, or that was shot on the camera, that's existing outside of Premiere on the hard drive. What this window is telling you is that link between the source clip in the project panel, which is almost like alias or like a shortcut you would have on your desktop on a PC or a Mac, and the actual media that's outside of Premiere on the hard drive. The link between the two is broken, and you need to reset it. Get used to doing this. You're going to do this a lot. This is not unusual. This is not abnormal. This is no reason to panic. You'll have to do this a lot as an editor, and once you know how to do it, it goes very quickly. The most important part is, if you practice good media management skills, locating the clips that are on the hard drive, which is what you're doing here, should not be hard. If you put your clips in some random place on your hard drive, or you do not label them properly, you will be searching through every file on your computer looking for each one of these files individually, and that could take hours or days. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, the first one highlighted is 1-2. I'm going to hit locate, and if I know where I save the clips, and I do, it shouldn't be hard at all. So I'm going to go, if I look in my locate file window, it kind of looks like the media browser, but it's not really the media browser. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to where I saved the media, and I can use the index on the left if I want to move pretty quickly. It's in the 2600 basic video editing folder, and inside of that I have the craft of editing files. Let's double click it here. Okay, and I have a folder called media. Remember that? Remember I had a lesson files folder and a media folder? They look a little different in the locate file window, but it's the same thing. Okay, it's telling me the file that I want to locate, once again, file 1-2. All right, and it is also telling me that this is where it saw it last. This is where it saw the file last. This is like, I call this a trail of breadcrumbs. This is the path that it was on last. Users, owner, documents, GPTC stuff, DMPT 2600, Hope dialog, and that's the file right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into media, and then I'm going to go into Hope dialog. Okay, and then I'm going to click the file I'm looking for and click OK. All right. Now I'm going to have to find the second one as well. All right. And when I hit locate this time, I can see that it's really not a big deal because of the fact that they're all in the same folder and it's taking me right back to the same place. Now I want to show you one thing. I'm kind of glad I did this. That's a little different. Notice the file name it's looking for is 1b-2.move.move. Okay. The two dot moves that indicate that this is a QuickTime, that's a mistake. All right. The clip in the project panel is looking for just 1b-2.move, but this is the file that this source clip was originally linked to. All right. I'm not going to link it to 1b-2.move.move. I'm going to link it to 1b-2.move. That's more of it's the exact same file, but the file name is more accurate. So notice how I have to go through and link them one at a time. Okay. If the clip name, which is the name for the source clip in the project panel, and the file name were exactly matched, I would only have to locate one of them. And if the rest of these clips were hanging out in that same folder, it would automatically locate the rest of them. It would automatically reconnect the rest of them, so to speak, or relink the rest of them. Because when we reconnect the source clip with the media or the original footage that it refers to, that's called relinking. Okay. By the way, when our clip is in the state of having the source clip unlinked from the media, that's called being offline. Okay, so all of these clips that don't have a check mark by them, they are offline, and I'm now returning them to an online state by linking them. Okay, and this is pretty easy. Of course, even this is a lot longer and much more drudgery than we're used to doing, because usually the source clips match perfectly. But this is good just for illustrative purposes. So just in case you run into something like this, you know what to do. If you know, okay, 1E-1, 1E take 1.mov, that's the same thing as 1E take 1.mov.mov. If you know that, then you can go ahead and just do the mental math and just select the one that you want this to be, okay? So you know it's really referring to 1E take 2.mov. So once again, I wouldn't have to do this all one at a time if the names perfectly matched. I could just do one, and if the others are hanging out in the same folder, it would automatically link those as well. But I'm almost done, so no harm, no foul. Locate. If you ever forget which one you're looking for, look for it up in the last path, or you could even see it here in the path right here. Path tells you where you are now. Last path tells you where it saw it last. The last time you opened up this project, where it used to be. 1K series, 1M series, 1N1, and 1P1. That should be it. Okay, there it is. So now I have all of my clips in my project panel. Just in case you're wondering where we are, we're in the project panel. We're officially into the one of the operational areas of Premiere. I know I'm in the project panel because it says in this tab here with the underline tab there is the active tab. It says project. Okay, so this is the project panel that's active. Here are my source clips. I have not used them yet in anything. I've just imported them into Premiere, so we call them source clips. Okay. One thing I do want to show you is this. If I click on the source clip and I control click it, that means I hold down the control key and click it, or if you can right click as well, that's the same thing. I can go down to Reveal in Finder. Let's go up to Reveal in Finder, and that'll show you where this clip is located outside of Premiere. So I see I have the source clip inside of Premiere in the project panel, and I have the actual media that was shot, the 1-2.mov that was shot, that is outside of Premiere on the hard drive in the Hope dialog folder, which is inside of the media folder, which is inside of the the craft of editing files folder, okay? And that's inside of on my computer. It's the DMPT basic video editing, DMPT 2600 basic video editing folder, okay? And that is, of course, in my GPTC folder, which is inside of my documents folder. So that's a complete path. But I just wanted to show you how the link between my clip, and this is not just the 1-2 clip, you could do this for any one of these clips that's in the project panel. Reveal in Finder. Okay, it shows you that there's a link between the 1-2, the 1-2 source clip and the 1-2 footage item, okay, or the 1-2 clip that was actually shot. And a clip goes offline when this link between here, if you imagine like a little bridge between the source clip and the actual media, imagine there's a little bridge. When that bridge is broken, that's when files go offline. That's when media goes offline. And I have to basically walk Premiere back to where the clip is on the hard drive in order to reestablish that link. I'm going to give you one quick analogy that'll help you remember how this whole thing works. Imagine that Premiere is your dog. And for years and years and years, your dog has been going to the front door and retrieving the morning paper and bringing it back to your bedside, okay? So Premiere Pro is your dog. The newspaper at the front door is the media, okay? Now, when you launch Premiere, what happens is the dog will automatically go to the front door, get the newspaper, bring it back to your bed, and that will be the equivalent of Premiere launching and everything being linked up, okay? What happens if, for some reason, the paper boy or paper girl, they decide not to deliver the paper at the front door and they deliver it at the back door instead? What's the dog gonna do? The dog's gonna go to the front door where it's been trained to go. That's where it saw the paper last. And what is it gonna find? Nothing. The dog will come back to you and say, media offline. Hey, that clip, that newspaper that used to be in this one place at the front door, it's no longer there. Where is it? Okay. Now, what you would do in this case to solve the problem is to train the dog to now go to the back door to get the newspaper, if that's where it's going to be from now on. All right. That's the relinking process. When you train the dog, when you train Premiere and tell it where the media is hanging out, where it's going to be from now on. So now you can see it's very important that you're not constantly changing the location of your media, okay? Because of the fact that that's one way that you're going to have to go through that process over and over and over again. When you're bringing in new media and you have a new project you're opening up for the first time, you have to do that one time. But if you have your media and your project file in label folders and in a nice organized place, you never have to do it again, okay? So that's the first part. What I'm going to do, I'm going to end this video with media management, which is basically how I can further organize these clips in Premiere. I'm going to organize them by their shot names, okay? So 1A2, 1B1, 1B2, okay? They'll be organized like that. Now, one thing that I explained the system of camera position and angles within the camera position to you, but one thing I do want to show you, I'm going to double click on the clip 1-2, and you'll see that, of course, 1-2 is different from all the other labels that we have. And if I look at the clip, I can see it's what we call a master shot or a wide shot, okay? It's called a master shot or wide shot because I can see the widest angle of the diner in this case, and I usually see most of the characters involved in a scene, okay? So we call this a master. A master shot is a shot that shows you all and most of a scene. It's really good to start a scene off. It establishes location. It tells you who's in the scene, okay? So the reason masters are very important, and because they're kind of different, we give them a different name. In this case, we don't give them a letter, okay? We don't like 1A2, 1B1, 1B2. We don't give them a letter. We just give them a scene number and a dash and the number of times we took it. So we did a 1-2. There was a 1-1. We didn't get it with the media for this project, but there was a 1-1, there's 1-2, a 1-3, and a 1-4. Okay, so these are masters. 1-2 and 1-4 are masters. Okay, and one thing I want to show you is also 1A1, as you can see, is pretty much the same thing as 1-2. Okay, so even though they messed up with their labeling rules, okay, or labeling conventions as we call it, and they gave it a letter, we know that this is a master based on what it looks like. We know that 1A2 is a master shot based on what it looks like. It's a wide shot of the diner, and I can see most of the major characters. And you'll see 1-4 is exactly the same. Okay, so they did that master 3 times, right? So what I want to do to organize this in my project panel, which is where all the source clips come when I import them into Premiere, is I want to do 2 things. I want to give them a color tag, and I also want, or color label, and I also want to put them in a bin. Okay, let's give them a color label first. If you look at your project assignment sheet for project number 1, you'll see that each color label has, each different shot has a different color label assigned to it. So for example, let's see, the master shots, all the master shots should be in a mango color, All right, and I'll show you how you set the mango color. I'm going to select the master shots. 1, 2, 1, 4, and 1A2 are all masters. I'll select the first one, press Shift, select the last one. By the way, just in case you don't know, let me go back and do one thing. I'm in list view right now, which is a very convenient view to be in. It's the most professional view to be in, and this is the view you want to be in when you're editing in Premiere. You don't want to be in thumbnail view, or icon view rather, because of the fact that you don't really get a whole lot of metadata information on it, and if you have a small screen, you can't fit that many clips on the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to list view. I go there by clicking the list view button at the bottom left hand corner of the project panel. Okay, by the way, if these clips are a little small, source clips are small, there is a zoom slider at the bottom, okay, that you can slide to the right to make them bigger. By the way, a clip that looks like a film strip, the purple film strip, and the green audio WAV file, that's a movie source clip. And a movie source clip means that there's video and there's audio, okay? You can see that 1P1 and 1M1 series and 1K series, those are just film strip icons. Those are just picture only, moving picture only, video only. Okay, so it's video only, movie, and we don't have any here, but if you did have some audio, like a song that you wanted to use, you would just see the green waveform icon, and that would be just audio only clip or audio clip. Okay, so let's go ahead and use our mango color tags. I'm going to select the color label. I'm going to select the 3 clips that are masters, and I'm going to go down to label, and I'm going to go up to, actually I've already have it set here, mango. You won't see master shot on yours, but it should, you'll see mango. Okay, so you're going to choose mango, just like that. Okay, 1B1. I can really look at this clip right here at the upper part of the project panel. If you don't have this window, it's not really a clip, it's a window called the preview area. If you don't have the preview area in the upper left-hand corner of your project panel, there's an easy way to get it. You click the project panel menu. We know it's the menu because I have these 3 horizontal lines. Anything with 3 horizontal lines is called a menu, and it's the 3 horizontal lines or the menu for the project panel. So we call it the project panel menu. I'm going to click on those 3 horizontal lines, and I'm going to go down to, you see preview area. See how it's check marked? That means that it's visible, the preview area, which is this area up at the top here. Okay, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to click on my project panel menu and I'm going to choose thumbnails. So my icons with the my icons with the film strip in the waveform, those go away and I get these thumbnails. Now, these haven't updated yet, but typically what you would see is a thumbnail that has, a picture of the clip within it. The reason why I'm going through all of this right now is because I want to show you how I can click once on a clip. I don't even have to double click on it to load it into the source monitor. I can just click once on it and view it in the preview area to see what that clip was all about, to see what kind of shot it is. Like this shot 1-2, I can't really tell what it's about because I have my clapper there. So I really can't really see from this clip. It doesn't show me what kind of shot it is. What I can do is I can create what's called a new poster frame. So that means I can drag this little playhead to the right until I get a representative frame, a frame that represents what this shot is all about. And I'm going to hit the poster frame button, pow, just like that. And now, every time I click once on that clip, that poster frame will be there. And also, let's see if we can go back to our thumbnails and see if we see something that works for us. Nothing yet. But if the thumbnail was refreshed, it would show exactly what's listed right there as a thumbnail in the preview area. It would show it on this clip. So I can immediately look at the clip and see what it's all about. A lot of people like this thumbnail view while I'm in list view, because notice I'm still in list view. So this is thumbnail view while in list view, okay? Because you get the best of both worlds. You get a little picture normally that shows you what the clip is, and you also get all kinds of metadata. What metadata is information about the clip. For example, what is the frame rate this clip was shot at? That's metadata about the clip named 1-2.mov. What's the duration of this clip called 1-2? It's 2 minutes, 51 seconds, and 25 frames in duration. Okay, so you can see each one of these columns of metadata, these vertical columns, gives you different information about the clip. And so you know which vertical column goes with which clip. They give you a nice light gray highlight. I'm going to go back to my, I'm going to uncheck list view because I wasn't getting any pictures there. So I'm just going to stick with my regular old icon view, or my regular old list view with the icons there. And I'm going to check out the second one, 1B1. I can kind of tell that it's an over the shoulder from Roth to a medium shot of Anne. But how about we get a nice, remove my little playhead, get a nice little picture of it there in the preview area and set a new poster frame for it. Same thing for 1B2. Okay, just enough so you can look at the clip, look at the thumbnail and tell what it's about. Usually if you go to about the middle of the clip, you can tell what it's about. Hey, that's a different one. That's a medium close-up of Anne. Okay, so this is very helpful. You want to do these things because it makes your work much faster. You can see here's a reverse of what we saw before. Before we were looking over Roth's shoulder at Anne, medium shot of Anne. This is the reverse of it. I'm looking over Anne's shoulder, showing you a medium shot of Roth, the person she's talking to. Okay, a lot of the time in film, you will get reverses like that. That is one of the most common types of shots in the film world, reverses, over the shoulder shots. Then I have something called a cutaway shot. We call it a cutaway because of the fact that it's not Anne's face or Roth's face, which is what we've been looking at most of the time. I'm cutting away from that main action to something new, which is just basically Anne and Roth's hands on the table and she presents a photograph to him. Okay, this is a shot of the waitress, 1K series. This is what we call a special shot. It's over Roth's head and it's behind him. So it's a special shot. We'll talk about that a little later on, why we call it a special shot. Same thing for 1M series. It's over Anne's head as she's sitting there at the table. Okay. 1N1 is another overhead shot. This is another kind of cutaway shot. All right. 1P1 is a cutaway as well. There's no slate here. It's a shot of the clock on the wall. Okay, and that's it. This icon right here is the icon for the sequence. That's basically, the icon for the sequence is basically the timeline, what the timeline, how the timeline is represented in the project panel. Because I can have multiple timelines. I'm working with multiple timelines at the same time all the time. So in order to keep them separated and to know what clips are in which timeline, each timeline is represented by an icon like this. Okay. By the way, the word timeline and sequence, they're the same thing. Okay. So let's continue organizing my clips. Okay, I've got the first three color labeled. This second one, I'm looking at over the shoulder from raw to medium shot of and. Let's go back to my project assignment sheet and see what that says. Over the shoulder from raw to and right here should be the color Caribbean. The color Caribbean. They have creative colors here. Okay, let's see how many of these are over the shoulder from raw to and so I can multi-select them and make this faster. 2, 3, 4, 5, up. 1C1 from 1B1 to 1C1 are all over the shoulder from raw to and. The angle on and is a little different in one of these. In 1C, well, actually, no, they're about all the same. Not too different. Okay, so from 1B1 down to 1C1, select them all. I select the first one, press the shift key, select 1C1, and then I'm going to, remember, right click or control click any one of the selected source clips and go to label. Remember, I said it was Caribbean, over the shoulder from raw to and. There you go. That's the color Caribbean, kind of a mint green color. All right. Now, 1D1, that's a close-up of and. Okay, let's see what that looks like, what color that should be. Okay. The iris, the iris color, this is the close-up choker, more or less. Choker means that the shot ends right below Anne's neck. So it should be the color iris, which is kind of a purple color. Okay. Control click 1C1, go to, I'm sorry, is that 1C1 or 1? That's 1D1. Control click 1D1 or right click it, go to label. I'm looking at it, but I'm not seeing it. There it is, label. And I want to go to iris already. So that was already the correct color. 1E1, now we're doing the reverse, over the shoulder from and to medium shot raw. And that color, according to your project assignment sheet, is cerulean. Over the shoulder from and to raw is cerulean. Okay, so 1E1, 1E2, 1F1, 1G1. Okay, so we're going to go from 1E1, 1E2, 1F1, 1G1. We're going to multi-select those. Control click or right click any one of those. Go to label and choose cerulean. Right there. Okay, it's kind of almost a cyan type of color. 1H1, 1J1. Well, let's go 1H1 first. Okay. Okay, 1H1 is a cutaway. So we're consider it cutaway, and we're going to use yellow for that color. Where's my yellow? Yellow, right there at the bottom. Okay. This is the waitress. I think my waitress is forest, kind of a green. All right. 1K series. This is a special shot. This is called a special shot. Remember, 1K series and 1M series are special shots. And those special shots are rose in color. So select them both, control click or right click either one of them, go down to label and choose special shots rose, okay? By the way, I'm also gonna show you a little later on how I got those names next to the colors, okay? 1-in-1 is another cutaway. So I'm gonna control click that, go down to label, okay? And remember my cutaways were yellow, so I'm gonna choose yellow for that, okay? 1P1 is once again a cutaway. So I'm gonna go control click the 1P1, label, go down to yellow. There we go. All right. Now I wanted to show you how I got the names. Like for example, label, not only does it say yellow, but it says cutaways. I had to put cutaways there. Yellow was what Premiere gave me originally, but I put cutaways there. Very quickly, I won't take too much time on this because this is not that important based on what we're doing, but I'm going to go to Premiere Pro or go to the edit menu if you're on a PC. I'm on a Mac. Go to Premiere Pro, go to preferences, go to edit preferences if you're on a PC, and then I'm going to go down to labels. Okay, the preferences just basically helps. Preferences basically tells you, lets you customize or design how you are going to work with Premiere. You can change things like screen colors, of course, label colors, label names, lots of little things you can change about how you work with Premiere in preferences. And here are a bunch of categories of different things I can change. By the way, the changes that I make to preferences are saved in the recipe or saved in the project file. When I launch Premiere, I can clear any changes that I've made to preferences by double-clicking a project file or double-clicking the Premiere icon in the applications folder and holding down the Control key, the Option key, and the Shift key at the same time. That will wipe my preferences and erase anything that I did in preferences and set everything back to its default. So Control, Option, Shift. On a PC, it's Control, Option, that's Control, Alt, Shift on a PC. Control, Alt, Shift on a PC. You do that once you launch. Right when you launch Premiere, you hold it down until you see the splash screen asking you to open a file or create a new file. You can let them go then, and what'll happen is that your preferences will be wiped. But as you can see here, I can change like Iris, Caribbean, Lavender. These are just basically the colors that Premiere gave me to label my clips with originally. I just added, because I knew all the Iris shots are going to be the close-up choker of Anne. All of the cerulean shots will be the over-the-shoulder from Anne to Roth. Okay, I just added an underscore and the type of shot that needs to be that color. By the way, you're not locked into these colors if you don't want to be either. I can click on a color and I get a color picker and I can choose any color that I want. All right. And then I'll change one for you just so you can see that it really works. I'm going to change to kind of a hot pink, change the tan to a hot pink there. It's kind of close to magenta, but you know, I just randomly did that and I can give it a new name, hot pink. Okay. All right. Click OK. There we go. All right. So that was just, it created a new color. It didn't really do anything with it. I'm going to control click it. It didn't add the color label to anything. If I go to control click, I go to label, I go to hot pink, bam, there it is. I didn't call it hot pink sequences, but I could if I wanted to. Let's go back to Premiere Pro preferences, labels, hot pink, sequences. Okay, and click OK. There we go. Okay, so we got everything color coded. Let's go ahead and create different bins for them. There are 6 different ways you can create bins. I can use the keyboard shortcut Command B. I can go to the File menu and go File, New, Bin. There's a keyboard shortcut there, Command B. I can click the New Bin button down here to create a new bin. I'll do that just to show you that's a new bin. I can create a new bin by by control clicking inside of the project panel, control clicking an empty space. Make sure there's no, you're not control clicking a element like a sequence or a clip. You're control clicking an empty part of the project panel and choose new bin. That's another way to create a new bin. See, create a new bin there. Got 2 new bins there. I'll delete those. Let's see. I can create a new bin by clicking the project panel menu. Remember the 3 horizontal lines, and choose new bin. And the last way, which is the way I'm going to use, which is the quickest way to do this, is to select all the clips you want to be in the same bin and drag it to the new bin button at the bottom right hand corner of the project panel. Okay, so now 1-2, 1-2, 1-4, and 1-8-2, all my masters are all in the same bin. So I'm going to call this bin masters. Okay. Okay, I can control click the bin and choose rename, and it'll allow me to rename it. It should. It's not in this case. I think I have a little glitchy thing going on here. But if you control click the bin and choose rename, bin will be highlighted and you can type in anything you want. Okay, it's not letting me do it now. I have no idea why. I may need to restart. If you ever have an issue like this where it's not doing something it's supposed to be letting you do, you just go ahead and restart it. Restart the program. I'm going to make a new bin by clicking the new bin button and see it won't even let me name it there either. So that lets me know it's some kind of glitch. It won't let me rename a new bin. So what I'm going to do is from this point forward, what you want to do is you want to, after I've named this first bin with the masters in it, you would call that masters. After that, I'm going to name each bin after the clips that it contains. For example, 1B1, 1B2, 1B4 are all in a bin called 1B. So I'm going to control click one. I'm going to make sure 1B2, 1B4, and 1B1 are all selected. Drag it to the new bin button. And once again, I can't name it 1B for some reason. Don't know why. I may have to restart. But it gave it a different name, bin 3, okay, for me. Because I did a bin 01, a bin 02, and I just deleted them. Okay. 1C1 will get its own bin because that's the only source clip that has C in the name. 1D1 will get its own bin because that's the only bin with a D in it. 1E1, 1E2 will get their own bin. 1F1 will get its own bin. 1G1 will get its own bin. So we're organizing these by the shot label. Now that's only one way that you can do this. Sometimes people like to organize or label their bins, or organize their clips and label the bins based on what's in it. For example, they would make a bin called cutaways and put all the cutaways in there no matter what the shot label is. That's not what we're doing here, but that's just because I'm demonstrating one way of doing this. Okay. And then 1J1, that one gets its own bin. You'll see when we do it like this, you generally have a lot more bins, which can be a good thing, but also may be a hassle. 1M series, that's its own. But remember, I can't rename any of these because of a glitch I have going on, but as you make these, you want to relabel them. Okay, relabel them to what the name of the source clips inside the shot name. Like you don't have to 1N or 1P, just put P series, like P series, N series, C series, J series in this case would be the name of the bin. Okay, and I'll make a last one called sequences. Okay, so this first one, this is my masters bin. I can't rename it masters, but I'll tell you what else. I want to make sure that the bin's color label is the same as everything inside of it, and in this case it is, so I'm good to go. All right, this B bin, what would be called B series, is typically B-SERIES is what I would call this bin if I could relabel it. Okay, not let me do it. But I want the bin to be the same color as the clips inside of it, source clips inside of it. So I'm going to control click the bin, go to label. Yes, you can color label a bin. And then I'm going to choose, this is an over the shoulder from Roth to Ann. So it's that Caribbean color. And as you can see, they all match. Okay, this one, 1C1, this is the, once again, over the shoulder from Roth to Ann. I know you're going to say, well, wait a second, those look very similar, and you could take those shots from you can take this shot, 1B1 and 1C1, they're almost identical. Why do they have different camera setup names? The camera is virtually in the very same place, positioned in the diner. Well, that's a mistake they made when they were shooting the footage. I didn't say I was going to give you perfect footage. By the way, this is not my footage. This is footage from another textbook. And it's helpful to sometimes see how people get it wrong. That way you can be on the lookout for stuff like that. But you definitely need to be neat freaks when it comes to clips, because of the fact that this is reverse over the shoulder from Ann to Roth, because of the fact that this will save you later on when you don't have just 18 or 19 clips. When you have 200 clips or 2,000 clips, which is very common, tens of thousands of clips, so it's very common for like a feature film, you want to make sure that you have a robust system of organization so that you can quickly find any clip that you want. Another reason why you want media management to be key, you want to have really good media management, is because much of the time it's not just you that is going through your footage. Many times you'll have a coworker or a supervisor, a boss, a producer, or a client, and they want to see the work that you've done. You might not even be there that day, okay? But they want to be able to go to your workstation if you're working in a shared environment, like in a studio, and they should be able to quickly find the clip based on how you have it nicely organized, or your media management skills. This is why this is very important. So this is the reason why we're using the first part of this project for you to practice your media management skills. Okay, so I'm just going through and matching my color labels from the source clip to the bin itself, so I can look at the bin and tell you what kind of clip is in that bin. Very convenient, right? Okay. And remember, I can't re-enable these bins right now because of some sort of glitch that's going on, but it would be a lot easier if, instead of just saying bin 13, bin 14, if the bin said, in this particular case, it would be cutaways, would be the name of the bin. Okay. 14. Now the cutaways bin, already got it labeled. And the last one, sequences. Remember, that's the hot pink that I don't think the sequences, that was not a color label that I listed on the project assignment sheet, but you can really just choose any color you want that hasn't already been used, but just make sure that the bin is labeled sequences. Okay, so that's the first part with media management. We've shown you how to launch Premiere. We've shown you how to relink media. We've explained to you how media offline works. We've shown you how to create bins for source clips. We've shown you how to create color labels for source clips. Now that you're nicely organized, now we're going to start to talk about how we get to the nitty-gritty of actually editing. That's all I have for this one. This is about 55 minutes of footage, so that's a pretty good amount for you to get started with. Do this part and then we'll move on to the next step.